to welcome to Jackie's Litter Corner. I am Jackie. So, while I was trying not to give into my obsession of watching Bridgerton Season 3 Part 2 for like the fifth or the sixth time, I decided to feed my other obsession, which is book buying. And I did go to the bookshop again, but I did give them some books again. During the the U.S. Open, they weren't taking donations, but now that that's all done and everything, they're taking donations again. So I brought some of my mass market Robin Hood books because once again I'm starting to collect, as I think you guys have seen if you've watched past videos, that I have my on like books I've recently purchased. Books I did buy. I've been buying all the Robin Hood books slowly. So far, I only have 3 of them now because I ended up. They didn't have Ship of Destiny at Books A Million, so I ended up getting the first book in the Tawny Man trilogy, or the second book of the Tawny Man trilogy. That was the day that I did that update, and I got those Bridgerton pencils, and I got the bookmark. And then I ended up buying a book that, for something like my original plan was, the book I needed to buy was Ship of Destiny, but for some reason, I see Mad Ship, the second book in the Live Ship Traders, and I grabbed that thinking, oh yay, that's the one I need. And then looking at it again when I get home, just as I'm starting to film and realizing, oh wait, I already have this one. So I ended up going back so then we went back the next day. They still didn't have Ship of Destiny, which is okay because I'm not very far into the first book anyway. Like, I try to get all the books in the series. I try to buy them as soon as I can so that I don't have to, because I have a bad habit of buying the first book in a series, and even though I enjoy it, I do like it in the moment, I end up not coming back to that series. Like, because it's so long before I buy the next book, and then I just eventually lose interest. So what I try to do is when I get into a series, so I don't eventually lose interest, I want to buy like at least the second or the second and possibly the third book if it's a series. Both as soon as I can. So I ended up they didn't have Ship of Destiny, but I ended up buying, like I said, I bought the second book in the Tawny Man trilogy, which is Golden Fool, and actually the mass market versions I originally had that I actually got from Given Bookshop, I gave them back. Well, actually, no, I think I actually got it from Black Castle Books, now that I think about it. Yeah, I got it from there, because Gibbons doesn't have the best, it has a very, it might have a few fantasy books. Like, I have seen Robin Hood books there, but those books I got from Black Castle, which, sadly, as you know, that store is no longer in existence anymore. Although the woman that, the one that is there that has been running it, she said there's always a chance the people who own it would bring it back. So it's not complete, so it might not be gone yet. But I have a feeling they didn't get a lot of business, because whenever I go there, oftentimes I'm the only person there. Occasionally there might be 1 or 2 other people, but it's also a really bad location. It's kind of like, yeah, it's surrounded by other stores, but they're not. It's kind of a seedy area. It doesn't look like a nice area, and there's a pawn shop, and I can't remember what type of food, but there's this food place there, but it just feels very seedy, and I wouldn't want to be there at night. So it's not although they would close by 4, so I wouldn't have to worry about that, but still it was not a comforting, it was not a nice location. But it might have been their only option when the people that originally were running it had. Anyway, still sad that it's gone though, because with that one you could you had credits, so I didn't have to actually give them all my cash. I would just get I would just use what how much it would cost the books, how much it cost the books I donated with. I don't know how to explain that. I'm sure you guys know what I mean by that. But anyway, so before I show you the books I bought, and of course, once again, it is 3 books because I don't want to go over $12. I am slowly making my way, trying to finish Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. And my feelings aren't that different. Norrell and Strange are still annoying and very amusing. Annoying in a funny way, though. Like, if that makes, like, they're not bad characters. They're just like, I have a strong reaction to them. Although right now Norrell is seeming worse than Strange. In fact, can I feel bad for Strange in his current situation right now? This old down hair dude, Faye dude, is to like, it's like he's like a mortal child that is just like thinking he can do whatever he wants because of course he's a Fae, so he's an immortal, he has all these magical powers, and he just does not think very highly of magicians. He is like thinks they're idiots and they're amateurs compared to him because he is like practically made of magic. And he keeps messing with Stephen Black and intending to be like, you're gonna be king. And it's just like, he can't, the fizzle down hair dude just cannot fathom that he thinks he understands humans. Which I feel like you get that trope a lot with immortal characters, like whether they're gods or fae or whatever. They think they understand humanity, but they realize eventually that humans are very complicated and we're not all evil, we're not all stupid, we're not all bad, we're just very complicated creatures. But anyway, so that's really all I gotta say. It's one of these situations where I want to finish it, and I'm excited, and I am enjoying it, but it's long. So it's like, I don't want to put it down because I am so close to the end. But I keep getting sidetracked. And then, of course, this is the second day of my 4 days off. So I will have to go back to work. Then I'm going to have to go back to work eventually. And work could always call me and be like, do you want to come in? I mean, luckily I have an excuse today, which is I don't have a ride. That's the problem. That's the only one of the few problems of me not being able to drive is that, I have to, if I want to go to Books A Million, I have to get either call, public transport or, ask my parents. And, or to get to work, my parents have to take me, which it's not that far, but it's still kind of like if work ever called me, then I can't just be, I would still I have to rely on my parents to give me a ride, or I would have to try Uber or Lyft, and Uber and Lyft are not very reliable. So I can't even count on that right now. But so it's a little, so there are some frustrations about my inability to drive, but then at the same time, the road, it's very scary on that road. Like, you have to pay attention. You're driving for everybody else, not just yourself. So I have to constantly pay attention, and it's kind of scary. I mean, I got nervous driving when my dad was letting me drive the golf cart. Not here, but back in Maryland. There's one time he let me drive the golf cart, and it just gave me, like, I was one of those people that was like sudden stop because I had anxiety as soon as it felt like I was going way too fast for me. Like, because the golf course, the path was very hilly and just like, so it was making me very anxious and nervous. Now, of course, with here, I think you have to have a driver's license anyway, so I could never drive the golf cart. But anyway, so, yep, I'm making my way slowly through this. I want to finish, I would like to finish it within these 4 days, but I don't know if that will happen. But that's all I'm currently reading right now. I'm trying to just finish this book. And then I will come back to the other books, Unconsoled, Empire of the Vampire, and Ship Magic. But like I said, I've been thinking of picking up books that I'm in the middle of that I stopped reading for a while and haven't come back to. Like, I'm thinking, like, there's books like this one, Shadow of Night, which is the second book in the All Souls series. And then there's, I also started, a while back, I started reading Moby Dick. So I thought about coming back to that one too. And it kind of goes with the theme I thought about doing last year, which is like a water, ocean, pool theme. Because it's, traveling on this sea captain trying to catch a shark. that aren't or trying to catch a whale, not shark, a whale. um. So I thought about reading last year and I didn't get to it, so I might read that in July. And I might, and I want to do and then there's of course there's all the fantasy books that I need to get back to, Shadow Rising and the Natural History of Dragons, all that. And then there's books like John Adams. And in fact, I was thinking this for July because July 4th. So I would probably start this at the end of June, but it will depend on how long it takes to read Jonathan Strange and Norrell. There are a lot of books that I started to read and I wanted to get back to them. And so that's what my kind of plan is, to try to each month start reading, pick up one of my books that I've started to read and got a good chunk into it and then stopped it. Picking up one of those each month and actually finishing it. Ideally. Okay, now let's talk about the 3 books I bought. Because book buying and reading is my main hobby. I've tried to get into other hobbies like adult coloring books, diamond painting, and just I was all excited at the time in buying the things for it and all that, but then I ended up just I still like doing it. It was still fun, but then it just kind of fizzled out a little bit. Where it's not that I'm not gonna do it ever again. It's just in the end, it's just I'm all about the reading, and then the only other thing I do is watching TV and movies and stuff like that, and watching YouTube videos that are about TV shows, movies, and books. That's just my main hobby. I love doing it. It's fun for me, and it's fun consuming these stories in these 2 different formats. And then I go to the bookstore. Now, like I said, I donate books, but I will often find myself in situations where I'm looking at my shelves and be like, oh, I have to get rid of something. I have to donate something, but it's hard to choose because, I have most of my books are ones that I haven't picked up yet, and then the ones that the ones that I have read, most of them I'm still interested in keeping them and wanting to read them again at some point. I get to that point where it's very hard, and I know I'm probably not going to get another shelf anytime soon unless it's free, like the last shelf I got, and so I don't ever want to run out of room. So it's just, so I try, and at least I recently finished Good Kings, Bad Kings, which is really good. It's about these kids with disabilities, particularly kids that have to be in wheelchairs, and they are sent to a special facility, basically a nursing home for teenagers in Illinois. It's set in Illinois, and it's multi-perspective. It's a young adult novel, so you can tell by the way it's written that it's very for younger readers. And it's such a, and I love each of the characters have their own personalities, which is really fun. And it has a lot of humor. There's a little bit of sadness in there, but it also has a lot of humor. It's very funny. The kids aren't depressed. They're not sad. Yes, they want to be treated with more respect, and some of them probably wish they weren't in wheelchairs, but they have a lot of humor, and they maintain who they are and their confidence, and not letting the world make them feel bad about themselves or make them feel like they don't fit in anymore. And all they want is to be treated with respect and kindness, and they want their new home to make them feel safe and comfortable. And it does, there are some character, it also, looks at the idea that even if the place that they're staying is a decent place and not as bad as some other places, and it's clean and organized and everything, there's still a lot of flaws in the system. And sometimes people that mean well can make mistakes and screw up, or you can not realize that you have someone helping that isn't a great person, that is a horrible person that does not understand the struggles and just assumes the worst and thinks Like, there's one character that is just abusive towards the kids and think that kids are master manipulators, and he doesn't understand that these kids are not master manipulators. They're kids with disabilities. They're kids that just can't, that struggle with functioning in the real world and need the world to kind of adapt to them. And kids that just, they can't think, that they don't think the same way we do, and they're not, it's not their fault. And this guy does not care. And sometimes these companies, because they're not paying attention and they're just more focused on the bottom line and the business side of things, that they will hire people that shouldn't be working there in the first place. It's a really good book. I like how it's about, disability. But I do wish there were some other disabilities that they focused on, that the author had focused on. But, and the author is Susan Nussbaum. But I do understand that the author herself, in the little guide, little notes from the author, and there's a questionnaire guide and stuff. And I remember there's an interview with her, and she says, you find out that she's in a wheelchair. She had an accident and ended up in a wheelchair. So that's obviously why there's a big focus on that experience, because it's what she can relate to, it's what she connects with. So I understand that, but I just wish there still were more representation of other disabilities, not just physical disabilities. I mean, there are kids in that facility that they have learning disabilities. Their intelligence level is not exactly the same as the average person. And, so they kind of deal with that, like mental disabilities. But they don't deal with it a lot. There's still more of a heavy focus on the wheelchair thing, on people having to be in wheelchairs. But other than that, that's my only thing, is I wish that there were other disabilities, of more variety of them covered, not just physical disabilities of being in a wheelchair. Anyway, but it was really good. I definitely recommend checking it out. Anyway, so now let's show you the actual book haul, that was one of the ones I hauled last time. Sorry, I'm checking my Apple Watch, but I'll look at that later. Let me show you what I got. Okay, so as usual, I got 3 books. Okay, first one is, again, it's one of these, I don't know, now every time I see this NYRB, I cannot remember what it stood for again. The New York Review Books. That's what it is. The New York Review Books. I immediately gravitate toward it. I don't know why, but I like the look of these editions. So I'm guessing this seems like it's a modern classic, because it was originally published in the 50s. I think. Okay, I cannot find. But this one the plot of this book reminded me of The 13th Tale. It's a very similar plot, where you have our main character, the narrator is picked to write this biography of this, of this author, Helena Ralston, who is the subject of this painting, Circe, and the inspiration for a classic children's book. And there is apparently a connection between these two women. So it is very much a very similar plot to the 13th Tale, which I'm wondering if maybe Lisa, if I can't remember the 13th Tale's author's name. I can't think of her name at the moment, but I wonder if that author was inspired. Diane Sutterfield. I wonder if Diane Sutterfield was inspired by this book, because like I said, it sounds like the same kind of plot, except for the fact that our main character is a inspiration for a painting in a classic children's literature book. So I'd be curious if that was her, and if that was Diane Sutterfield's So let's read the back, shall we? Okay. The narrator of Lisa Tuttle's uncanny novella is a recent widow, a writer adrift. Not only has she lost her husband, but her muse seems to have deserted her altogether. Her agent summons her to Edinburgh to discuss her next book. What will she tell him? At once the answer comes to her. She will write a biography of Helen Ralston, best known, if at all, as the subject of W.E. Logan's much reproduced painting Circe, and the inspiration for the classic children's book Hermine in the Cloudland. But Ralston was a novelist and an artist in her own right, though her writing is no longer in print in her most radical painting, My Death. Okay, and that's what the title is, My Death, and that refers to this woman's famous painting, Helen Ralston's famous painting, deemed too unsettling, malevolent even, to be shown in public. Over the weeks that fall, Ralston proves an astonishingly cooperative subject, even as her biography uncovers secret eerie resonance between the older woman's history and her own. Whose life is she writing? Really? Okay, so that's what it is. That her life seems very similar to this woman's. Okay, so I'm gonna read this blurb from Neil Gaiman. Lisa Tuttle is quietly and unsensationally the finest practitioner of unsettling fiction writing today. Her ethereal voice is so sensible that it's easy to forget over and over in the story after story that she's one of the dangerous ones, and the kind of writer that somebody really should have warned you about. So she must be good. The cover's very interesting too, because it, like, I don't understand when it is, because the characters, the people on the cover look like sort of animal human hybrids, but I'm wondering if maybe this is the painting or something. Which, if it is, yeah, it's a little weird, but I don't see why it would be dangerous. But I mean, this is a different time period, so I thought that just sounded really intriguing. The idea, like I said, it reminded me of the 13th Tale, in the fact that her this woman Ralston, she made this painting that is so unsettling that people just were afraid of it. And then, of course, and the whole idea of, oh, her life seems like mine. Like, that's creepy. That's weird. And there's actually, from author Grady Hendrix, his blurb says, Lisa Tuttle's characters crawl into places that many genre authors avoid. As sexually comfortable as her books can be, it's the emotional discomfort that clings to you. Tuttle's books are messy and chaotic. They feel desperate, they feel human, they feel like real life. And then this is from Booklist. It is Tuttle's influence ringing loud and clear on the award-winning work of authors like Carmen Maria Machado, Elizabeth McCracken, and Karen Russell that will finally lead grateful readers back to her. And like I said, the cover was very intriguing to me. I wanted so yeah, this just sounded really intriguing. So, and it's a novella, so it's not that long. So I will look forward to that. Okay, so the next book I bought was Rona Jaffe's The Best of Everything. So this was, and I gotta admit, like, as soon as I saw that this was a penguin, I immediately grabbed it. So I guess this is the shallow part of me who's like sees certain classics covers editions, and I'm like immediately grab it and say, is the plot interesting? So to be fair, I will read the description and see does it interest me after I picked it up. So this, from what I remember, is basically women at a publishing company in their lives. So it's set in the 1950s, and the thing at the top, I don't remember what's called, but the thing at the top that gets your attention, the tagline, I guess. The insightful novel about 1950s New York City women in the workplace that paved the way for Sex and the City and Mad Men. and it's the 60th anniversary edition. And I appreciate that it actually has a description, because what is really annoying is when you get a book that is old enough to have an anniversary edition, but it doesn't have a description of what the book is about on the anniversary edition. So you end up having to look it up on the internet. Okay, so, when Rona Jaffe's superb page turner was first published in 1958, it would change contemporary fiction forever. Some readers were shocked, but millions were more electrified when they saw themselves reflected in its story of 5 young employees of the New York Publishing Company. 65 years later, The Best of Everything remains touchingly and sometimes hilariously true to the personal and professional struggles women face in the city. There's Ivy Lane Caroline, who dreams of graduating from the typing to an editor's office. Naive country girl April, who within months of hitting town reinvents herself as the woman every man wants on his arm. And Greg, the free-spirited actress with a secret yearning for domesticity. Jeff follows their adventures with intelligence, sympathy, and prose as sharp as a paper cut. So I thought this was really fun. And I feel like I don't read a lot of modern classics. So I thought I would try it. And I do like and also I was thinking about how, like, I always, make sure that, when I go book shopping, then I also look into books by female authors, as well as male authors. But I also run into the problem that sometimes a lot of female authors are prone to focus a lot on the romance. And obviously there's nothing wrong, because I love romance too. But it's just not my thing I'm looking for when it comes to books. Like, if it's in there, that's fine. I mean, although I shouldn't say completely against it, because I have bought a lot of books that are where there's a romance plot that is a big focus of the story. In fact, I was looking at one called Music and Silence, and I don't remember the author's name. It might have been Blaine something, but that one also has a little bit of a romance in it. And this next one might have that as well. Which, funnily enough, and I guess maybe I don't know if I was really thinking about this when I picked this one up, but, there's free bookmarks that you can get. They're nothing, they're just paper bookmarks with what they probably do is use like wallpaper for the design of or something. But after I picked it up, because I just like this color, that's why I grabbed it. But I did not realize that this one matches my book. But anyway. So I've heard a lot about this author, Evelyn Waugh. And I've heard this book before. I always end up getting it mixed up with Ian Forster's, his book, either, Room with a View, or, there's another one there, that also has, like, the house in the title, like, whatever that estate is called. I cannot think of what the Ian Forster book is called, but this is, Brideshead Revisited, and I'm just gonna go read the back because I don't remember, what it's. The wellsprings of desire and impediments to love come brilliantly into focus in Evelyn Waugh's masterpiece, a novel that immerses us in the glaring, seductive world of English aristocracy in the waning days of the Empire. So yeah, I'm obviously totally not into romance because, but through the story of Charles Ryder's entanglement with the Flights, the great Catholic family, Waugh charts the passing of the privileged world he knew in his own youth and vividly recalls the pleasures denied him by wartime austerities. At once romantic, sensuous, comic, and somber, Brideshead Revisited transcends Waugh's early satiric explorations and reveals him to be an elegiac lyrical novelist of utmost feeling and lucidity. Wait. Is Evelyn Waugh? No, I'm confused. I was assuming that Evelyn Waugh was a woman, but there's um yeah, it's gotta be a woman. I'm like, because I'm sorry, but there was a sentence that made me think they were implying that Evelyn Waugh was a guy, but no, it has to be a woman. But anyway, sorry. So that, I've heard the author Evelyn Waugh before, so I finally spotted this, and plus I love the teal color and everything, and the kind of wallpaper look to the cover. I thought that was really pretty, and the premise just sounded intriguing. So that is what I bought. And like I said, I will probably at some point tonight read a little bit more of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, because like I said, I would like to try to finish it by the end of the month, but I don't know if that will happen. It might go into July. We'll see. Currently it's the 22nd, and I still have like 3 more days off, so I am in the middle of chapter 54, so I'm on to chapter 55. And there's 69 chapters, so it's just the chapters are kind of long. But anyway, also I am going to watch season 3 of Bridgerton part 2 again today. I'm just gonna do it. I don't care. And on a non-book related note, although they do have books for the show apparently, I started watching Doctor Who again. It's basically like I had found out that a lot of the Doctor Who, a lot of Bridgerton actors weren't in Doctor Who, and I did see Golda, who plays Queen Charlotte. Golda, I don't remember her last name. The actress who plays Queen Charlotte. I just saw her in an episode. I don't know if any of the other actors, and I just missed it. But I think I could usually tell. So I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to go back to, because I did start watching. I can't remember her name. When the Doctor was played by a woman. I cannot remember the actress's name, but I started to watch that, but I kind of started to lose my interest, started waning a little bit. And I've also been hearing a lot of videos that are critiquing that era, and a lot of people are not happy with it, and they feel like they had more of an agenda than anything, and that they didn't have a lot of development with the characters. Like, the characters are more like token versions of something, like they represented something, but they didn't have personalities. So I was hesitant to continue. I stopped, but then I got interested again. So I'm wondering if some of the Bridgerton actors were in those episodes. Plus, it's kind of like, I feel like I shouldn't have stopped. I should have just kept going and watching it, because I feel like it's still part of the story, the Doctor's story. So I feel like I should, and I imagine there's a lot of things he references, like he always does. Like, I feel like the Doctor, although I was still able to get into New Who and not getting too I didn't know all the references to the older original Doctor Who episodes, but I still was able to enjoy it. And it's still somehow it's still the feeling, and I guess this comes from the writing, and then the actor who plays the Doctor, I still felt the emotional roller coaster of him remembering, people from before, like his granddaughter Susan and all that. And, it still got me, even though I didn't watch the original show. So, but yeah, it was fun to get back to that world and rewatch it. Like I said, I think I might go back to I want to say she would be the 13th or 14th Doctor. I think I might get back into it and just try it again, because I might still enjoy it, even despite all the criticism people give it. I might still, enjoy the ride. But Plus, I'm a little bit easier to please. I'm a little more laid back about, you know, and it's just too, you know, and like the only time I really got passionately vocal or close to it where I didn't like what a show was doing was in Once Upon a Time. And that was very stressful and exhausting. But sometimes I wonder though if I was influenced by other fans who that I kind of agreed with. Not to say like my reactions to Once Upon a Time were their fault, but I think it definitely encouraged my being overly emotional about that show. I still feel justified in my reactions to that show, and I still often feel a little like I still get a little annoyed when people say, you know, oh, you are being stupid for quitting, and you're being a little bit crazy, and I'm like, I still feel a little like, no, I feel like I was justified in quitting, and if I was happy with it, I wasn't just being over dramatic. I generally never came back to it. So, anyway, so that is how my reading is going so far. I don't know how I'm going to label this video. I need to come up with a title. I was thinking about what I would call this video. I mean, I might be like, you know, jumping from one obsession to another or something. Anyway, so I guess if you guys like this video, please give a thumbs up, click subscribe if you haven't already, click the bell notifications if you want to be notified. You don't have to, no pressure. And I hope you're enjoying your reading. And if you recently bought any books or borrowed books from the library, or if there's any book that you've just finished that you're really excited and want to talk about, I would love to hear in the comments below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked this video, and I will talk to y'all later. Alright, bye!